Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joel Amadon.
And I'm Ann Monroe.
Welcome to The Road to Better Teaching, where we share stories of professional growth from across the field of education. Springtime.
It's beautiful. This is, I think, my favorite time on the University of Mississippi campus. Spring.
Yep. The only thing that I don't think enjoys it is one, allergies.
Yes.
And your car.
I took care of my car this morning, as a matter of fact. Luckily, I don't have the allergies here in Mississippi. But in my car was washed this morning.
Yeah.
So
the pine trees just like to let you know that they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. So we're here to welcome Katy Pocreva.
Hey, guys.
And Katy has actually been in my classes, both as a junior. We're introduced up 2 years ago now, right? Because you were in 353.
Yep.
Where we learned all about teaching and lesson planning and all that good stuff. And she has had the privilege of being my graduate assistant this past year.
Well, this is a lucky year to have that happen to you because he's on sabbatical, a very special sabbatical this semester. So it's kind of like you get to have a little bit of freedom in the spring, right?
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay, nice.
Also, Katy is another trivia player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm an avid circle and square trivia.
Nice. Okay,
That's
I've
right.
done it a couple of times, but I know the Amadons are very much.
Yes.
We're getting pretty competitive now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We've won the past few weeks. So.
Now, who is your team?
Just me and like 5 other friends.
Okay.
Oh, you would enjoy it. They always use a song title from the
Early 2000s song title is what we usually
wow.
go
as
for.
a team name, so that then getting the trivia
Yeah.
master, facilitator to play that song.
Well, that's
sometime.
She'll usually play it for us. So.
that's a era in music that I am probably the least.
Right. So that comes to our first question,
Yes.
Dr. Monroe. If you could pick a song title to be the name of your trivia team from whatever era, what would it be?
That is a wonderful question.
Wow. That's putting me on the spot. But I might do Aha's Take on Me.
Oh!
Because then it's sort of like, bring it on,
Yes,
take
I
on
like
me.
it.
Just try it. But
Yeah.
so I'd probably do that.
Hit me with your best shot. That could have been a good
That's
one.
a good one.
That's a
Oh,
good
Pat
one.
Benatar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good.
Those are all good. So, so we're getting to know a little bit about you, Katy. Though you like trivia. What about you taking a chance to take a chance on me?
That's a 70s.
ABBA.
ABBA. Yeah, is it ABBA or ABBA?
I think it's ABBA.
ABBA. Okay, well, I'm going to find out because
I
I'm getting ready to go to Stockholm in a few weeks.
I just
so
watched
I will
Mamma Mia.
double check.
I think you should.
On
yeah.
Blu-ray?
On Blu-ray. Mamma Mia
course.
on Blu-ray. So if you could tell our listeners who you are and a bit about what you're doing right now and maybe your plans going forward in the future.
So I'm currently finishing up my master's in curriculum and instruction. I graduated last year with my bachelor's in elementary education. Next year I'm planning to move to Dallas to start teaching. This year I've been a GA for Dr. Amadon, which has been really fun. In the fall I was just going to his classes with him, and now I'm helping him with random tasks with his sabbatical. So, yeah.
Working on some good projects there.
Mm-hmm.
So, where are you from, though?
Yes, I'm from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, which is on the coastline. I was born in Florida, then moved to Ocean Springs when I was like 10, but I've lived there since.
Big fan of Walter Anderson.
The biggest.
Yep.
Yep, card over there.
Yep.
I need to do my ocean. I have not been to Ocean Springs, and
need
I
to
was
come.
literally just recently looking to plan a visit.
You should come in November. There's a big arts festival. It's kind
Okay.
of similar to Double Decker, but a little more pottery type things. But yeah,
Okay, great.
it's wonderful.
Maybe some watercolors.
Lots of
Yep.
watercolors.
From Walter Anderson.
Of course, yes.
And get a tato nut donut
Mm-hmm.
while you're
They're
at
famous.
it.
Okay.
Yep.
Made from potato flakes, and they're phenomenal.
All right, I'm in.
There you go. All right, so we like to start our interview with a little bit of a countdown. So let's set the scene. So name 3 educators who have shaped you as a person.
Yes. So my first when you sent me these questions, this is the first teacher who came to mind. Her name's Miss Monahan. She was my 5th grade teacher. She's my favorite teacher I've ever had. She was so awesome. Before 5th grade, like, I didn't really care much about school, but she was kind of like the teacher who, like, made me excited to come to school every day. She was the class where I made all of my, like, best friends all throughout high school who I'm close with, so many today. She made it such a priority for us to, like, cherish these friendships and, like, really prioritize them. Yeah, she just always kind of, like, had such an impact on me and who I am as a person. The next, I would say, her name was Miss O. She was my 7th grade math teacher.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. Secondary
She was
math,
great.
yeah.
So pretty much up until this point, I mean, like, I liked school, but, like, just kind of, like, for the socialization reasons, couldn't really care less about math, which I feel like is kind of normal for a 7th grader to kind of feel that way. Yeah. But her class kind of made me realize how much I enjoyed it. She wasn't, like, my all-time favorite teacher, but I learned so much from her. She made, like, the whole learning process so fun and easy. And, like, to this day, like, I remember this formula for circumference of pi in the area because we made up songs about every single thing we did. And there was always, like, a reason as to why, like, she gave a backstory on, like, every number. And, like, they have to do this because X, Y, and Z. And that just, like, made so much sense. And I'm honestly so grateful for her because she made me realize how much I love something without even knowing it.
There's a reason why to learn formulas with pi. It rhymes.
Is there?
Reason, it just rhymed.
Okay.
Reason
okay.
why. Y and pi rhyme. Kind of sticks with you.
There's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
Lastly, this was in high school, was Miss Freeland. She was my Teacher Academy teacher, which Teacher Academy was like a 2-year CTE program, which, I forget what CTE stands for, but...
Career and Technical Education.
That's the
Wow.
one.
Very good, Dr. Amadon.
Well, I'm going to a Workforce Wednesday in the near future at our local district.
At Oxford High School?
At Oxford High School.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go. So I was in the CTE program for 2 years. So basically we learned about, like, what it kind of meant to, like, be a teacher. It honestly kind of mirrored a lot of the classes I took sophomore year, like, coming in, like, the 352 classes. Like, a lot of it was, like, mirrored through that. Just learned a lot about, like, the theorists, like, DOK wheel, lesson planning, like, nature versus nurture, just, like, kind of all of, like, your basic education stuff. But in this class, we did, like, field observation. So my second year in it, like, twice a week, we would be, like, going into the schools, which was really awesome and kind of, like, gave me, like, a good, like, realization of, like, what it meant to be a teacher.
When you were in that program, we sometimes bring high schoolers that are in programs like that to campus to show them the School of Education and hoping to recruit them and keep them interested. The other students that were in the class with you, did they all also want to be teachers, or were some people in there that just sort of thought we're just taking the class? Like, sometimes we run into a mix of students that are really interested and some that are just sort of taking
I mean,
it.
that's how I was at first. Like, I just took this class because 3 of my friends were taking it, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's so fun, and the teacher's so awesome. And then, like, after, like, a year or so, and I was like, I feel like I could actually probably do something along
Well,
these
that's
lines.
nice. Yeah. So you went in not really that interested and then left very interested.
Yeah.
What a
That's
success
good.
story
Yeah,
here.
that's great.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think
No.
that's a good reminder that those programs are important, because I know recently some of those teacher academy type programs in high schools are closing down, which I think is a shame.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity to build up the profession and give kids an opportunity to see something that either they know they're interested in or maybe they don't know they're interested in, and then hook them, which is great.
I mean, I think that's one thing over and over again we realize is that exposure matters. I mean,
Yes.
even, again, going back to our local high school, like, they're having internships where people can go and shadow people at jobs. And
Yeah.
basically have a little helper. But, I mean, it looks like it's a pretty popular program. I mean, and again, getting a chance for people to try something on, try on an identity, try on something that maybe they didn't think about before, but then all of a sudden leads to a career.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of guests on the podcast where one of the things that they say, brought them to the profession was something in school where they were able to tutor like a kindergartner where they were in 5th grade, or work, with a class of students when they were in high school, and that was something that they often mention was a spark for them, which is nice.
Well, it's cool too, just also knowing that, however your job search ends up, whatever. But you've also mentioned wanting to upper elementary is kind of a desired area, and the first teacher that you mentioned immediately was fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
Fifth grade. There
She's
we
basically
go.
the reason why I wanted to become a teacher. So makes
Gonna have
sense
to
why I was
send this
fifth
to
grade.
her. There we
Nice.
go. What about, okay, so then, this, we always kind of do this in this countdown, Dr. Monroe, that it's like, I think we steal some of the thunder from the second one, where we're recalling 2 reasons, because I wonder if, like, you're just going to point to what your responses already. Recall 2 reasons or events that led you to become an educator.
So talking about like the teacher academy class where we got to observe, we kind of got like randomly placed at the school, and then once we got placed at a school, we kind of had to like find the teacher, and I thankfully got the school where Miss Monahan, my 5th grade teacher, was at. So I got to spend the 2 years like shadowing her.
Oh, wow.
So that was like a
That's
really
neat.
cool like
Yeah.
full circle moment.
Yeah.
And still at this point, I was still like, I don't know if I want to be a teacher. And then kind of just like being with her every day, and she's like so inspirational, like such an awesome teacher. So that was like a really big reason why I wanted to, just like having that like full circle moment of being like, maybe I am kind of like meant to do this. Next one is, so all throughout high school and most of college, every year I would go on a mission trip with my church to Ecuador. And throughout the week, it was kind of like split of like what we did. Like a lot of it was like construction based, but in the afternoon was like VBS, and my job was always like with VBS, hanging out with all the kids, and leading them through the week, just through like random like VBS lessons or just like doing activities. But for me, being able to like connect with them, even though there's like such a language barrier, I feel like was like so powerful, because I was like, if I can do this here in Ecuador where I don't speak much Spanish, like surely I could do that like at home. So I feel like that was like such a big reason too.
I think that's neat, because I think a lot of the elements of teaching are universal, and they don't, the language barrier is not necessarily always an issue.
Yeah.
And the elements of good teaching are there regardless of the language, and you
Yeah.
picked up on that, which I think is neat.
Yeah,
You can always find a common ground.
Absolutely, yeah.
right. Well, you have a kind face, building up some sort of curiosity with some sort of something that you're teaching, and like, again, able to, I think I have some pictures up here of me doing that in Haiti, but like, I don't know, there's building those relationships can kind of overcome the language barriers. So, and then that's the key ingredient of being a teacher.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. All right, so now we get to the mile marker on your journey of growing as an educator. So what moment would you pick to represent your mile marker on your road to better teaching?
So when I saw this question, I kind of just like looked back on like my whole senior year student placement. At first, I was like, this is horrible. I can't do this. This is not it. But like throughout the year, I feel like I really like progressed and like learned the curriculum really well. So for my 10-day unit that I taught, it was on like parallel and perpendicular lines, like something like pretty simple.
But important.
But so important.
Yeah.
So on the pretest, before like I even started the unit, I gave them all a pretest. No one scored over 25, 50%. So I was like, okay, like, so we're kind of starting from square one, totally fine. But like throughout the unit, there was like a lot of hiccups with like any unit that you teach. Like nothing's ever going to go smoothly. But throughout it, I was like, okay, like they're actually like starting to learn this. They're getting this. And at the end of it, all the students scored over 75%, and they all passed the unit. So that was like super rewarding to see, like, okay, like even if like coming in like they don't know anything, I actually have like the power where I can like teach them and like have an influence on their education. So that was like a really like rewarding and like fulfilling moment for me.
It's proof, right?
Yes, proof.
So what grade was it? What grade, or where are you student teaching? Or were you student teaching?
I
Sorry.
was in 4th grade math.
4th grade math. Okay, great.
Isn't that like, I mean, like that early time where it's like, one, my role is necessary,
Yes.
and it actually works.
And it
right?
works. This teaching thing, I think that is like a time I remember looking back and seeing students learn something or use a skill that I taught in student teaching as well. And I student taught in a 3rd grade and a 5th grade classroom. And I remember a particular lesson where we were doing blends like SH, SL, VR, and the students were picking up on it. And I remember thinking, this is fun. It adds that sort of excitement to it. It's not just a one-way, it becomes a two-way street. And it's very, very encouraging for a young teacher, I think.
Yeah.
It seems obvious to people on the outside, well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing, but it's not obvious because you spend a lot of time not necessarily, looking for, are they understanding? Are they picking up on the concepts? And sometimes, I mean, obviously assessment is extremely important in instruction, and you're learning to do that in the student teaching semester because it's not an easy thing and it's not an automatic thing. So when you do find out that they indeed are, responding to your instruction is very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, and also too the common maybe understanding of teaching is someone just talking at kids, and then they say everybody got it, and if no one says anything, are they just quiet and staring at you like, oh, they must understand, they didn't ask any questions, versus like, no, like when you did wait.
It's not really how it works.
That's not how
yes.
it works. But like providing environments for them to explore. Well, hey, what is a perpendicular line? What is a parallel line? How do we tap into their previous experiences? What, like on your laptop? Hey, what kind of lines are those on the back? There's, like those are parallel lines. How do we know they're not intersecting? So it's like having those experiences and opportunities, and then also being able to assess it and see like, hey, where are they at? Where they are now? Can I see the growth? And that's cool. What would you point to represent this mile marker? What would be like the souvenir of this moment?
The artifact.
The artifact.
It's like that. I think, so at the end of the unit, they did, so in the unit, I actually taught 2 different standards. The other one was on, like, angles and using protractors to make those angles. And at the end of the unit, they, like, brought it all together, and they did this project. It was called like Build a Park, and they all like sketched out like their like ideal park. It could literally be whatever they wanted, but like them like actually like hands-on using the protractors and like measuring it, and they would like switch with a partner and like make sure that like the partner had it correctly, and then they just like made it really nice and pretty. And we hung up all up on the walls, and like they got to like show everyone, like all of their friends, like, look, this is what I did, this is what I learned. Because honestly, like, at school I was at, not a lot of art was being hung up so much in the hallway.
Right.
So this was, like, really cool for them to be like, look what I did. Like, I'm so awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that is cool.
I'm having a little bit of flashbacks from thinking about having kids pull out protractors and rulers, and
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it can be scary.
No, when they pull out the compass.
I was just going to say the compass
is
and the
scary.
holes in the paper is the worst.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a hole in my paper.
Well, at least a hole in the paper is a hole in my hand or something.
Yeah, or your
like
hand. Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. So that, and it's also too, like, I think that there is something there about having student work as the artwork, like how do you, cover the wall? And I know a lot of people want like their walls and designed and, everything has a certain place, but there's something about the beauty of like kids' work, some of it's neater than others but it's just like, hey, this is them showing what they've learned and then displaying it.
Yeah.
Like there's something
Yeah, and
about
you
that.
should displaying all work, not just work that is deemed superior or best work.
Yeah.
But displaying everyone's work, and it motivates kids too when you're someone who regularly displays all work. Students know that, and so they are motivated to, I think, do better. But it also shows that you value everyone's work. It doesn't have to be the best of the best to be valued.
Well,
So-
and going back to I remember your story about the flowers that you did, the foldable flowers.
Yes.
Well, and not only it motivates kids, but for you, it motivated teachers.
It did
to do
motivate other
things,
teachers to do things. They saw the projects that we had done in my classroom and said, I like that. How do we do that? And so it spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good too. So why is this moment important for you in your growth as a teacher?
I feel like just like being able to like prove to myself that like this is something I can do, even when I'm like doubting myself sometimes of like, should I be doing this? Should this be the grade level I'm doing? Just like having that like reassurance of it all.
I like that. I mean, I appreciate that. There's some authenticity there because it's not like, just hatching teachers here, and everyone feels like they're perfectly formed to go out into the world, right? Like you're going to have these doubts.
Far
Like
from
with
it.
anything, you're going to have doubts, right?
And I think too, what it speaks about is that there, while you are going to be in the state of Mississippi, at least you'd be licensed to teach K-6. It doesn't mean that you're comfortable teaching, every single grade level. Now you have a level of comfort and level of expertise, and you'd be able to do it, but it doesn't mean that's the perfect fit for you. Because I know some people who really love to work with younger kids, and they want the kindergarten class. Whereas for me, that would be, I can do it. I'm trained to do it, and I would be competent, but I'm not going to be my happiest. I'm going to be happier with a little bit of an older student that can be a little independent, still wants the sticker, but can handle their own journal writing and that kind of thing, get started.
They might cuss a little bit.
But, you're saying, like, I don't know if I even want this
laugh.
grade level. I don't even know if I want this, that it's okay to, understand that you're competent and can do it based on your training, but that there are places where you feel you fit better. Because I think that's something in teaching that, especially particularly elementary teachers, is that they are trained to do a lot across a large age span and all subject areas.
Yeah.
And people can, just because you can do it doesn't mean that you're the happiest in that you're happiest in one place. You're going to be happy. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't mean that you're going to be happy every single grade level, the happiest that you could be. There's probably a really good fit for you.
I love teaching ninth grade. I thought the goal was always to teach calculus. Like that was get there teaching that because I had a great connection with my calculus teacher. But in the end, it was I loved the ninth grade because one, everyone was in those classes,
right? And
you had a chance to influence relationships with math. They're still a little scared coming over from the middle school, a little smelly, still figuring things out. And you had it was like an inflection point for those kids, and I loved it. And then also too, we had a very inclusive environment, and so dealing with kids with all sorts of different abilities and interests and needs, in one class together, it was like a representation of the school too. So I really enjoyed that. But it was like, I don't think I would have said that at the beginning,
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we have a lot of students in my experience here at the university who, and Dr. Amadon can talk about this too, but who really say, I do not want to teach math. Like that's the one I hear the most. Like these are elementary teachers because, they're responsible for teaching all the subjects. I do not want to teach math. And then they get in the classroom and it's their favorite thing to teach. Yeah. And I know for me, when I started teaching, I thought I was going to be really enjoying the reading and the English and grammar and all that stuff. And the math was my favorite thing to teach by far, by like leaps and bounds. It was so much fun. So I think people do, that's what you're here for, to find out what it is that, to try some things out and find out what you can do.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, your moment, like, again, it's almost like this, wow, not only am I trying on this identity, I'm actually succeeding with this identity. That's pretty cool. So, I mean, why do you think your moment is important for the field of education? So thinking about connecting it to standards. I did send that to you. I don't know if you had a chance.
I'm looking at it right now.
There's a lot. I mean, the thing is, we could
so
probably make an
much.
argument for a number of them.
I kind of like the first standard, like understanding how learners grow and develop.
Learner development?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just within my unit, there was a lot of pushback of some students were a lot higher than others on the standards, so I kind of had to see where to start from with different standards and what remediation and what enrichment was needed throughout the unit to have them all kind of achieve the same goal essentially. So yeah, probably standard one.
Well, even thinking about that last part, the challenging learning experiences, I mean, you could have just said, hey, make an angle, tell me what parallel, tell me what perpendicular is, but versus no, incorporate those into the design of a park, and which is allowing then creativity and knowing also too in thinking about learner development, like, hey, that's some motivation. I can get to, work with my creative juices to try to like show what I know. That's good. Any ones that you were looking at, Dr. Monroe?
I think with the park project number 8, instructional strategies, the teacher understands and uses a variety of instructional strategies to encourage learners to develop deep understanding of content areas and their connections, and to build skills to apply knowledge in meaningful ways.
Yeah.
I think that could be one for sure, just, based on that project idea, putting that into action with that content of the parallel and perpendicular lines.
And even thinking about just noticing the growth. You can't do that unless you do assessment. which
Yeah,
is
and then
standard 6.
number 6, I thought about
Yep.
that one too, yeah.
And then one that I think I always want to point to in this is like, especially in these like initial phases, it's like that first time of, let's see, it's like the professional responsibility.
Number 9?
Or maybe number 10. It's like take responsibility for student learning.
Yes.
Yeah, number 10.
Standard 10. And
Taking
in-test
responsibility
standard.
for student learning.
Yep.
I like that because there is something about I'm delivering, but it's like I'm teaching math. No, you're actually teaching kids math, right?
Right, that's right.
So like I'm taking responsibility for their learning, and like then actually being able to see their learning. There is that's just a difference there versus the person that thinks teaching is just talking at someone, and if they don't get it, oh well, they didn't get it. Well, they're not taking responsibility for the learning. They didn't get it because you didn't do a good job of creating an environment, a learning experience for them to be able to understand. So there is something there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What is your current pocket-sized philosophy statement?
Yes, I'm going to do this without even looking at
Look
it.
at that.
Oh, I love this.
Nice.
So I actually looked back on this the other day.
You needed to use it the other day, right?
Yeah, I did use it the other day in a job interview.
Look at that.
They asked me, I've never heard anyone ask, but they're like, what's your philosophy on education? And I was like, actually, I have one. Let me tell you.
What do you
Yep,
know?
that's right.
So basically, it's like I strive to create a classroom where all kids feel valued and included and strive to be lifelong learners. And I feel like that kind of just like sums up everything I like want to be as a teacher. Like I think it's so important to inspire kids to learn inside the classroom and like actively be there, but like also when they leave school, they're like constantly looking around at their surroundings and like connecting like what they learn in class outside of class, just like building that knowledge. And I want to create an inclusive classroom where all students feel safe and like that they're loved, and that my classroom's like a safe place for them to like learn and just be loved on. Yeah.
That's awesome. So
Nice.
how do we see this moment reflected in your philosophy statement?
I guess like with like the lifelong learning, like building a park, like now they can like go to a park and be like, yeah, that's a 90-degree angle. Yeah, that's a 30-degree angle, and kind of just like have that knowledge of like things are built up from angles, and like it's math is all around you. So
I think also just that little thing where you hung them up, where you hung up the work, that you belong here, your work belongs here.
Yeah.
Your work's important to me. That's belonging,
Yeah.
right? That's having a safe space where that's a way to show that you care about the kids, is to honor their work. So I think even that little act that doesn't seem like a big deal is a big deal.
Yeah, it's like that's Ms. Pocreva's room. No, that's our room.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got art up there, All right, so now thinking about resources, like what does this connect to? Like what are some things that we can, that maybe this mile marker, this moment, or anything we've discussed have led to resource suggestions?
Well, immediately I'm going to say, because you brought it up, but I'm going to put the Dinozyke materials and put that back out there, because just connecting it to that idea of meeting students where they are, and then having students create things that can be shared. So anyone who's interested finding out more about.
We'll put a link to
Yeah,
episode
any
1.
of the Dinozyke materials
Or
I think
whatever
are
you
good
talked
for
about
that. it's basically three-dimensional graphic organizers and having kids organize their thinking and the content in a way that is fun, novel, and also is easy to share.
I was actually thinking about this, and I know we've talked about it a little bit, just the whole analog expression of learning,
Yes.
Getting kids off the devices.
Off the digital devices. And the Dynazike's materials are perfect for that.
Oh,
because
yes.
they're all so hands-on and interactive and colorful and uses handwriting and markers and scissors and glue and all the things that are tactile and kinesthetic. And
it's not complicated.
It's not complicated.
I've seen you do this a number of times since we first had this conversation where you talked about it on this podcast. But wow, I was like, wow, with a single piece of paper, I can make a little book.
Yeah.
And now I can, just like how a kid can think about, well, what would I write in my own little book?
Yeah, it makes writing easier when you're not staring at a blank page of notebook paper and you've got a little mini book you're filling out. It's much more motivational.
I think, too, this gets at the, kind of the decision, like getting behind the scenes of teaching, and goes to one of my favorite books to recommend. I probably already talked about it on this podcast. Teaching with Problems and the Problems of Teaching, especially for a new teacher going to be heading out into the world, where it's kind of like you getting that, who's it, fifth grade teacher, Miss Monahan?
Miss Monahan.
Miss Monahan is like, probably for those 2 years, you probably got behind the scenes of like why decisions were being made or why she did what she did and how she figured out what the kids knew and all that stuff. Like, that's such valuable information. And I think in that book, Teaching with Problems and Problems of Teaching, you're face to face with a expert. I think she was a fifth grade math teacher too, and seeing and she documents the heck out of her teaching. And so you're looking at this, kind of conversation that's happening around, a fraction task, and she is documenting all the reasons why she's calling on who she's calling, and it's just like one of those things, like, oh, this is how the secret sauce is made.
I was going to say, yeah. And that's sort of what happened to you with Miss Moynihan. You were a student, and you got the benefit of that, and then going back and working with her for 2 years, you said, right?
Yeah.
It's like behind the scenes. You
Yeah.
get to see how it all works.
It was really cool.
That's
and then still
awesome.
when I go home, I go and visit her classroom.
That's so
Oh,
great. I love that.
She's so
great.
awesome.
She'll have to get a link to this episode, featuring her prominently. Anything else? Anything else that we should talk about?
Resources-wise?
Yeah.
Do you have any resources that you really enjoyed during your time here at the university that you came across?
So while y'all were talking about that, I was remembering one that I used in my unit to teach parallel and perpendicular lines. It was a karaoke song, and it went to the tune of some Blink-182 song.
Sweet.
It was...
Is that an early 2000s song, Katie, is what I
Yeah.
want to know.
No, right? That's 90s, right?
Okay, that's 90s. I don't know. That was
Right?
I think, yeah.
late 90s,
I mean,
also a blur.
Yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s, I was very busy.
I forget the song that it goes to the tune of, but there was this whole website that I found. I can't find it now that I was just trying to look for, but
If we find it, we'll put it in the show notes.
yeah, but it was a bunch of karaoke songs about math and science lessons,
Sweet.
and every day when I'd come in, they were on their hands and knees begging me to put it on, and we would all stand up and we'd do hand motions. We were dancing around, and with fourth graders, usually they're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but
Yeah.
they ate it up. It was so fun, and it really showed how much they learned throughout the week. And at the end of when I was being observed by Dr. Livingston,
Yeah.
when she came in, it was one of the last days of the unit. They're like, can we do it? I was like, guys, we know it already. And they're like, oh, but we want to show Dr. Livingston. I was like, you're so
That's
right.
awesome.
And I put it on, and she was like, this is awesome. It was
Dr.
great.
Livingston, I could see loving a karaoke
Oh, yes.
song.
Yeah, it was so fun. But that was a really great resource of just something silly and fun, but they can really learn so much from that.
Yeah. I love it.
And
Love
I could see when they were taking the quiz or throughout the week, they were singing it to themselves. And I was too. I was addicted to the song for a little bit. It was constantly going in my head.
I
It was
love
awesome.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. And that's pretty good. Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Thanks, Katie, for
Welcome.
coming out. And so thanks for sharing a mile marker on your road to better teaching.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. And remember, the road to better teaching goes on forever, and the joy of learning never ends. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Rate and review the podcast. It really helps others find these stories, and share it with a colleague or friend who's on their own journey in education.
You can find today's show notes and all the links we mentioned at roadtobetterteaching.com. And finally, a heartfelt thank you to each of you traveling this journey of becoming and growing as an educator. The world is a better place because you are sharing the gifts you've been giving to teach others.
The Road to Better Teaching is supported by Amazon Planet.